Oh, inverse square law of light. Everybody like, blah, inverse, blah, square law of light. Blah. Sorry. Okay, back to normal. I've seen people discuss this in the most complicated way imaginable, and it's all good, but I never understood because of that. It was like, what the heck are you talking about? And more importantly, when I understood the principles, I never understood how to apply them. Like, that was just me being not that smart, you know? He's laughing. So, to make this super, super, super simple, first, before we do this, I drew some little diagrams for you so you can see the importance of the inverse square law of light. I did it the best way I could to show you visually what's happening, okay? So we have Amanda W here. Why do I say your initial? Like, it's so frustrating, right? If I put this light really close to her face, the inverse square law of light simply states that the closer you are to the light source, sorry, your eyes are probably hurting, basically the stronger the light's going to be. And as soon as the light source gets farther away from the subject, simply the inverse square law of light says you're decreasing the intensity of light on the subject. By how much? That's the formula. But the formula states that by a lot. That's the mathematical way, okay? So if you want to keep things simple and easy to understand, just remember this. The closer your subject is to the light source, the more intensity of light is going to be. And the fall off of light is going to be totally fast. You see how that side of her face is totally black? Okay, and then you're asking yourself, why? Why does that happen? It happens because the rays of light are all illuminating her. No light can escape. So look, if I put this here, light radiates. It goes into many different directions, right? So if I put this light here, do you see how much a lot of the light is radiating over her head and towards the floor and towards everything? Look, here's the light. Make a cone of light. The light's kind of going like this, right? And some rays go past her head, and some rays are illuminating her body, and some rays are going and illuminating my good friend Danielle. But when you do this, how many rays of light can escape? None. So that means that this part of the face is receiving no rays of light. This part of the face is receiving all the rays of light. No light can escape. So it makes, as soon as the light stops illuminating the shape of her face, it's going to go black. The nose, are you hurting? Is it hard? Good. Totally. I'll do it to myself just to suffer. It's really hard. Okay. Now, take a look at the little illustration on the screen. If you look at the screen, it shows here, all the rays are illuminating his face. Because we have noses and chins and eye sockets, that becomes like the block of light. So if Amanda has a nose, right? I can see it. If you illuminate Amanda's nose from this direction, the nose blocks the light from the other side of the nose. Duh. And if no rays of light are escaping towards Kenna, bouncing against that wall, and reflecting back to illuminate the other side of her face, it's going to go black because it's receiving no light. So, take a look at this. This is receiving the entire light. How dark do you think the environment will be here? How dark? It's a real question. How dark do you think? She will be illuminated well, because you can change your exposure to match the lighting on her face. But how dark is going to be the background? Dark, because there's no light spilling into the background, because the whole light is right in her face. Cool? So, the room is going to be dark. Why is that important? Because what if you have an ugly background? What if you have an awful mirror or a plant that's terrible, hasn't been watered in a long time? What if you're shooting in an environment that's just not attractive? Use the inverse square law of light to bring your subject closer to the light. If you live in Germany or in Seattle, use lights like this. Put the light closer to her, illuminate, expose for the bright light, and the rest goes black, removing distracting elements. It's fantastic. What a beautiful thing. You don't even have to move any furniture. Just dump it with blackness, okay? This is what you get. A crazy amount of light on one side, but black background all the way through. Cool? Okay, let's try this example. I have now moved away from here to here. Do you see rays of light escaping her face now? Very simple, right? Let me try something here. This may or may not hurt. Okay. Do you see how all the rays hit her in the face? How many of these rays went to this side? Nothing. Now let's try this. If you look at the wall behind you, you see where it says Creative Life right there? You can see that the light is actually reaching Creative Life. Look at that. Do you see it? That's it. Because of that, the light rays come out of the flash. They expand like this as they come out. Some of them hit her. A lot of the rays don't. They go towards the wall. They bounce around, and then they come and hit her in the face again. Cool? You get this picture. Do you see how the background gets brighter? The background is brighter here because more light is reaching the background. Take a look at the first picture. You see how that's pitch dark? Now this one has more light. Now let's go to the next one. Now I'll stand here, and I'll point my flash at W. Do you see how very few rays of light hit her, but the rest are kind of illuminating the whole scene? So if the light is far away, the lighting on her is going to be more even because some rays are hitting her, some rays are hitting the walls, some rays are hitting the roof. They're all kind of having a party, and then they're all illuminating Amanda all the way through evenly. That's why the fall-off becomes a lot less and less and less. At first, the fall-off is very strong because all the rays illuminate this side, nothing illuminates that side. As the rays of light radiate, you can see how the other side of her face starts to get even. Do you see that? Look at that. Until basically there's no difference. Let me try that again. Look how, when I get closer, look how it starts to get darker and darker and darker and darker and darker and darker and darker. Cool? So you don't have to do all the math and complicate your life. Just know that if no rays of light are escaping, nothing's going to bounce off other walls. That side of the face is going to go dark. Cool? Okay. This is what you get. Look how bright that background is. This is another one. Do you see how that background is distracting, the awful plant? I mean, I would never buy that plant. And that table has a thing in the middle. Bad news. How far do you think that light is based on the inverse square law of light? Give me a ballpark. Far, because you can see the exposure is pretty even, right? Now watch this. Now how close is the light? It's right on the face. So, how does this apply to you as a photographer? Well, kind of a lot. Because, Amanda, can you stand here? Let's go closer to the window. Now face the window. Okay, hold on, not that much like this. Let's stand right there. That's good. Click closer to the window so you can get more light in your face. Come this way. Where are those lights? Here, hold on, hold this for a second. Let me take this. Here, stand here. Okay, go ahead. Be careful. Let me help you. Now face this way. And don't fall, please. If you fall, I'll take a picture. If you're photographing the way we normally photograph, which is close to the window, which isn't that what we always do, you photograph someone this way, If it's a girl, you're splitting her face. You're getting split. Like, that's awful. Like, that's why it affects you. And then if you put her mom or her aunt or something, and you, Nikki, could you come here for a second? If you put her here, stand right there, is good. Stand right there. What the heck? Can I get 2 more people over here, please? 2 more. Maybe just go back down for this example. Get close together. Get close together. Okay, great. You're the photographer. You're taking pictures like this, right? Boom, boom, boom. Who's getting the best light? The light source is here. She's getting the highest amount of light. And then the inverse square law says that you're losing, what is the technical term I used?
A lot.
A ton of light. Every inch you move until it starts to taper down, right? Based on the formula, right? It starts to taper down. So if you're not a mathematical person, remember this. If your subjects are close to the window, the light falloff will be very fast, and the people far away will be dark. If you are far away from the window, the lighting is going to even out. Cool? So if you're photographing bridesmaids or a group of people for a fashion shoot or whatever you're doing, this is pretty much the worst possible situation because you're making all the light on Amanda and you're putting nothing on Crisanta, on her. Raise your hands. Okay? Now, if you're watching on the internet, you're saying, Roberto, I don't get it because she looks just as bright as she does. That's because we have a bunch of lights illuminating backlight at her. Okay, thank you guys. Sorry, thanks. If you are the mathematical kind, this is for you. If you are like me or the rest of the people, you can probably ignore this. But wow, those numbers did not appear the way I said it. Okay. I'll just say it real quick. At the starting point of 1 foot away from the light, you're receiving 100% of the light because all the rays are hitting your face. As soon as you go to 2 feet, the light starts to spread, and you receive only a quarter of what you used to receive. So 3/4 of the light goes away, and then it goes like that until it starts to taper off. So you go from 100% of the light when you're really close to it to 75, to only 25% of the light, to only 11, to 4, to 4, to 3, to 2, to 2, to 1, to 1. So the farther you are from the light source, the more even it becomes. The closer you are to the light source, the more drastic the fall off will be. Okay?